Hello YouTube and welcome back to Thornton for the NRSL Coke Vanilla Cup Series race number 16, and this is take number 1 for this one. As joining me in the booth yet again is Stephen Paul III.
Hello guys, I'm back.
As we finish up the Thornton race weekend, Jack James will start on the pole alongside Samet Ozkan. Row 2 sees Alexander Rowe and Jeffrey McCullough start alongside. Tom Shelley will start alongside Henry Sanford in row 3. Brian Patterson, Seth Cole in row 4, and it's an all Red Bull row 5 with Sky Commons and Matt Dixon. Here's the rest of the starting grid as I hand it over to Steven.
I expect nothing but a crazy race, especially in turn 1 and coming on the highway section. Like I mentioned all week, the twisty parts, the highway, and the turn after the big 3 sections. Braddock, after a disappointing 42nd last week, is trying to catch Jackson, and everybody's goal this week is to push Charles Jackson off the turn of death.
That's a undetermined goal, and as you see there with the 43, there has been a driver swap for this race only because the 98 did not qualify. A deal was made between Evernham and Petty to where... Oh, hold on, his command.
Drivers, start your engines.
A deal was made where Steve Pollard would pilot the 43 car for for the race since the 43 made it in. They're hoping that the move at least doesn't backfire and that the Pollard can get a good run in the 43.
Doesn't end up like lap 1 at Coca-Cola.
Meanwhile, Kev Shear will then have already raced the D&Q race in the 98 car by the time that this goes up.
Kev will expand his points lead.
And the green flag is out. The Russian Roulette 666 is green.
Now remember, this is the first time we used these bulky cars. Last year, Chris Washer won the original Cup cars, so we'll see how they do around the corners.
How do you remember that one? I didn't even remember who won last year.
Just a magical skill. That's why I'm a statistician.
Meanwhile, it looks like the field is survived. Well, never mind.
Dylan Young, Henry Williams, Steve Pollard survived.
36 is there. Will Hoyt's in the mess somewhere. Looks like Pollard might have gotten held up by the mess.
Big time got held up in the mess. But yeah, like every series now, there's going to be a wreck probably in the highway section.
Well, the question is, does someone outbrake themselves going into this corner and cause a wreck?
We only seen that once this week, and that was ironically with Steve Pollard.
Yeah, ironically. As they make it through there, Sky Commons a little wide in the 83, but actually made 2 passes in the grass.
That was actually a pass in the grass.
He actually made passes while in the grass.
That's the Red Bull power. That's why we're going to Red Bull next year.
That's rumored, not confirmed.
As look at this,
Alexander Rowe's going for the lead. Yeah.
In the worst car in the field. The best finish for this 2 cars, 22nd.
Well, I mean, there's still time, but he's going for the lead right now in what is going to be the longest race of the race weekend. Seth Cole doesn't want that one to last for too long.
Seth Cole is screaming the end is nigh in his car.
And he's going to make a move for the lead already, as there goes Samet Ozkan with him and Henry Sanford as well.
Henry's on an 83 or 86.
It's already over 90.
Wait, what?
It's over 90 at this point.
Well, this might not end well. This section is another dangerous spot on lap 1.
Yeah. Oh, trouble! Oh my God!
Whoa. Well, there goes everybody.
That's a new one. That's a new one.
That's the field.
Who made it out of that? McCullough!
McCullough and Tom Shelley, the D&Q regulars, survive.
Okay. I'll be honest and throw my hands up and say I've never seen them wreck there. That's a new one.
And Chris Washer, last year's winner at Thornton, 3rd. Maybe Chris Washer really likes Thornton.
Gardner right now in 4th. Charles Jackson 5th. Jessica Shelton running in 6th. She really likes this track too somehow. I don't know why. You're saying?
That is not what the field wants to see Charles Jackson in 5th.
Looks like McIntyre's got damage to the nose of his car. Meanwhile, Shelton's making a move for 5th. And
obviously, this is gonna not turn out well. Look at Johnny. Johnny going. What a rate! What a good start for Penske.
yeah, so far. Although we were mentioning Alexander Rowe. Curse of the commentator.
Well, I mean, the bad season continues. This is gonna be a bad season video on Rowe.
Meanwhile, that's not gonna work.
Well, we're gonna have
3 wide. Shelley's in the wall.
Oh boy, this is gonna be huge.
McCullough's in the guardrail. Oh well.
Kev's driver took out Jess. That's gonna be a 2-week man.
That happened.
Chris Washer going for 2 in a row.
Well, 2 years in a row. Looking for a second win on this. Hello and welcome back to Thornton for the NRSL Coke Vanilla Cup Series Race 16 at Thornton. This is take number 2 on this, but luckily we don't actually have to reset anything, so good enough for that. Joining me in the booth yet again is Stephen Paul III.
Hello guys, ready for take 2.
Yep, we've already got saved as well in case we have to go to take 3. On the front row today is Jack James starting alongside Samet Ozkan. Alexander Rowe and Jeffrey McCullough make up row 2. Tom Shelley and Henry Sanford in row 3. Brian Patterson and Seth Cole row 4. With Sky Commons and Matt Dixon making up row number 5 in the Red Bull cars. Here's the rest of the starting grid as I hand it over to Stephen.
So like I mentioned, all the 2 series, the twisty section, the highway, and the turns out to be the 3 most important. Bill Bragg Jr. trying to rebound from a 42nd place finish, trying to catch Charles Jackson. And the keys to the race also is trying to push Charles Jackson off the turn of death.
That's more of the keys if you're in the points fight, basically. Now, back here, you'll notice, once it gets to it, new driver in the 43 for this race as a deal was made between Evernham and Petty this week to have Steve Pollard drive the 43 for the race because the 98 did not qualify, but the 43 did. So that's going on as Steve Pollard tries to make the driver's chase. Charles Jackson cannot lose the points lead today. He's got a 225-point lead over Bill Bragg Jr. Didn't even get to the points last time. Here comes the command.
Drivers, start your engines.
Command has been given. Bill Bragg Jr., Tristan Wilhoit, Chris Washer, Vince Almarego, Dylan and Sam Young, Henry Sanford, Tim Randolph, and Muhammad Zain Abdullah are the top 10 in points coming in.
Well, and Steve Paul is not trying to end up like lap 1 on Coca-Cola.
Speaking of which, we've got problems. The outside pole sitter did not go.
Well, rest in peace, Ozkan's hopes and dreams.
Samet Ozkan with issues on the start. And
this is going to lead to problems.
This is the field.
Okay. That's going to help Steve Pollard out a whole bunch.
So I think that's going to help the entire field because that just singled everyone out before turn 1, basically.
We're not going to see any wrecks in turn 1 then.
I don't think so. I think they are good.
Just can't have the game crash.
Yeah, we made it through turn 1. Minus
okay,
Samet Ozkan, basically.
The keys to the race, just blow up in turn 1, we can make it.
Or have the front row guy not start. Yeah.
Okay, so now Alexander Rowe losing positions to Young. I believe Young won at Sonoma.
Well, he was in that fight with James Qualls. Put it that way.
Oh, yeah.
As meanwhile, Henry Sanford trying to snap a 90 race winless streak. Right now is going for the lead on lap number 1 from Jack James. He's out in the grass.
At least if Henry wins, we get free pizza.
Yeah, one would think, right? Meanwhile, the field is still going well. Samet Ozkan is rolling now.
Well, yeah, everybody up here. Moving Dixon up to the top 5. I believe Dixon won Coca-Cola, if I'm not mistaken. Dixon on Coca-Cola
No,
Martinsville.
that was Martinsville for the 84.
Not a very good qualifying session for the part-time guys. So moving up is the 84.
Yeah, actually would have qualified, I believe, 11th, but got moved up due to the driver switch with the 43. Who, on courtesy from Sumet Ozcan, basically got to cross the start-finish line in 25th.
So Steve Paul might have, if Steve Paul wins, the comment section's going to burn.
Yes, it will. They're coming up to this section right here. We'll have to see what they can do. Right now, Seth Cole pushing Sanford.
And do we see the same thing in take? No, we do not.
No, we do not.
Oh, this is not going to work though.
3 wide. Sanford's getting. Oh, Jack James is around.
Never seen a wreck in that section.
So that happened. To be fair to Henry, I mean, there's not much he could do. He's got to try and get back on the track, and they wrecked again.
Huge wreck.
Zane Abdullah, Chris Louvier, Preston Plord, Stephen Paul III, James Qualls.
Last week's winner.
Cole Deaver's got maybe some damage.
The main thing is, that's a tough break after Steve Paul dominated the South Boston weekend. Steve Paul lives.
Yeah, looks like at least. I mean, he's still running, so that's the good news.
He's not that far off the lead back.
Meanwhile, 3 wide here.
This is where it's going to get a little tricky, too.
Sam Young's riding the guardrail. That's not good.
And I think the 2 is going to see... Nope, the 2 gets off there. Now, this part of the track is going to get really tricky with everybody running like this.
Yep. And the draft is not going to help matters either. Seth Cole right now is in the lead.
It is going to be a big wreck.
Shelton's on the outside of Seth as they come up to this corner.
Who's going to make it through this? This is...
Shelton's not.
Oh, God. Here comes the wreck.
She got the wall. Anderson is way wide. Someone's way off back there.
God, everybody... Wow. Oh, I thought...
Meanwhile, to the turn of death, this is actually where we crashed them. Take 1. Is there you see the dirt from someone. Whoever was back there went way off.
Do we make it to this turn of death?
Chris Washer doesn't. Neither does Christopher Pierce.
I don't see Steve Paul wrecked back there. I don't see him.
There's Jack James.
Yeah, the 43 wrecked. I don't see him.
There's the 17, the 23, and the 20. Just missed him.
I thought I saw him wrecked. So.
Scored in 21st. So
I didn't see his car there. That's why.
Right now, Seth Cole got to lead lap 1. Shelton is 2nd. Alexander Rowe 3rd. Matt Dixon up to 4th right now.
Good run by Matt Dixon.
Bill Bragg Jr. right now runs in 5th. There's Sanford and McIntyre right now battling for 7th.
A lot of D&Q guys in the top 10, so good to see them have some good runs.
Which is also good news for Charles Jackson, who did not have the best of first laps. Meanwhile, McIntyre out wide.
I thought I saw the 43 spin in the back. I guess I was wrong. But Steve's making moves.
There's Steve right there. He's actually battling with Charles Jackson in the 9.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you, that 43 get up there. He might have a shot.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. A lot of time still left to go in this one. Meanwhile, there's Tom Shelley, who also had a good qualifying effort. Right now is running in the 19th spot, though.
Both petty cars drafting up here. Everybody together, the top 20. A lot better than the truck and Xfinity race, I'll tell you that.
Which is kind of funny, because normally you'd figure the trucks would have been the closest, but oh well.
Xfinity, I mean Hooter Series, my bad. Look at Alexander Rowe, the worst car in the field, coming up to the lead.
Rowe is currently in 2nd. We're hearing this is a brand new car that they brought this week, so right now it's paying dividends.
Clearly, they stole Stephen Paul III's South Boston car.
Meanwhile, Bill Bragg Jr. having to try and go make the move on Matt Dixon.
Oh, this might not work. This is not going to work.
Meanwhile, Seth Cole is going to lose the lead to Alexander Rowe.
That worked.
Somehow it worked. Somehow they didn't wreck anywhere in the field.
Well, this is why this is the Cup Series. This is the most experienced guys, and they're showing it why.
Sky Commons back here right now in 32nd.
That's going to hurt him in the owner points.
Lord
in the
and
back of
Pollard.
Pollard got damaged. His race is killed. Ozcon's race was killed from the start.
Whoops. Meanwhile, Seth Cole trying to take the lead back from the 2.
Alexander Rowe is leading. The end is freaking near.
And here comes Matt Dixon trying to make it 2 wins on the trough this season. 3 wide into the heavy right-hander.
This might not work.
And Shelton had to get out of it. Now Dixon makes the move to 3rd.
Now this is going to get hairy off this corner. Do we survive again?
So far we are. Shelton actually gets the run off the corner and has gone 3rd back.
Braddock's doing exactly what he needs to gain points on Charles, but he's got to survive the turn of death 2 more times.
Yeah, worth mentioning, 4-lap race as opposed to the 3-lap race we saw earlier. Matt Dixon's in the guardrail.
Everybody's in the guardrail.
Seth Cole, Alexander Rowe, and Levi McIntyre.
Everybody makes it through, it looks like. The turn of death. Oh, God.
Oh, boy. Shelton's going to be wiser there, I think. Definitely got out of it going into the right-hander. Ah!
Charles with the fail.
Meanwhile, oh, my God. Johnny Gardner, we had 3 cars fall off there. Kyle Matthews was one of them.
Steve Paul lost a bunch of positions.
I saw who the other 2 were, and they were Alexander Rowe and Jessica Shelton.
That sums up the season of Alexander Rowe right there, guys. Braddock Jr. to the lead.
Yeah, somehow in all of that.
Braddock and, Jess and the 2, they did not make that final corner.
No, they didn't. That will be shown in the post-race replays. So.
Yes, Levi's car will not be shown in the post-race highlights.
And Ozcon's basically all by himself. So this is what would have been the final lap in the other races, but it's not the final lap here.
Looks like Johnny has a 70 out of nowhere.
Yeah, somehow. Matt Dixon's got damage right now, but he's still running in 3rd. So I think looks like someone hit him or something on the left side there because he hit the right side into the guardrail. Gardner trying to go to the grass. Will Hoyt up to 14th right now, so that's a pretty good run there. And Mark George trying to go around the outside of Levi McIntyre right now.
Now this is going to be interesting coming up. Oh, God. Every time he does that, he gets scared.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, we have saved the race in case it does crash. Although I think we're going to be safe at this point. Gardner now up to the... I guess that's actually defending the spot he had. Meanwhile, Dixon going for second.
This makes me nervous. Matt Dixon trying to come down the inside of Seth Braddock. I believe Braddock won at Las Vegas, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Remember on the pit strategy. Whoa, big time frame rate.
Oh boy. And now this is going to get crazy into this corner right here.
As still a massive, massive pack here on lap 3.
There might not be a massive pack after this.
We're surviving. somehow they still survive. Cole Deaver's way back.
Steve Pollard at the end of the pack back there. Qualls goes wide. Qualls is the road course winner this year, too.
Yep. And I guess the 21s are... I was going to say... Oh, the 12s retired.
I think that was the car that went off like 30 feet wide.
Driver's already out of the race. Christopher Pierce, Chris Washer, Chris Levier just got retired out of the race. Zane Abdullah is not running anymore in this one. Brian Patterson, Kyle Matthews, Alexander Rowe, Jessica Shelton, and now Amy Shelley.
This does not bode well.
This is insane. As Gardner's in the guardrail.
We've been doing pretty good off the twisty section, so we'll see how this one works.
Yes, so far we've been good there. Bill Bragg Jr. is going to retain the lead still down this highway section here. A little bit of dip on the car there. And looks like Osborne's in the wall.
This lap?
Oh, we didn't! And that was near
What a save.
calamity. Mark George to the lead. Yep. And Henry Sanford to second.
Might not be second for long.
Now let's not choose the 99 this time. And Will Lewis! Holy moly!
Will Lewis with the save of the century.
You don't get away with that very often.
Will Lewis called AARP right there, and they wanted to sponsor him now.
So Mark George now leads on the final lap over Henry Sanford.
There's going to be a big time freaking wreck.
These guys are basically not battling right now. So the only way they're really going to fall to turn to death is if they battle. So
Dylan Young up here. Dylan Young's on like a 100 race losing streak or something like that.
He's nearing one. Put it that way.
Now, everybody a little separated, but they're all going to get together on the highway. And on the last lap of the highway section, as we get down.
Actually, I will be honest. The longest two winless streaks in the series belong to Henry Sanford and Gene Sanford.
And that should prove the series is not rigged.
Basically. Or if it is rigged, it's rigged against me. Which is me rigging against myself. So, yeah. Whoa, what a move by Henry!
Jesus, that's not
didn't quite stick, but he's to the lead. Meanwhile, we did see skid marks there. We did see skid marks, so someone went off. And you know what? I'm willing to bet it might have been the 12 that went off there, and we might have had our Bermuda Triangle visit of the weekend.
Now, this is where everybody's going to group up together, and this is going to get insane.
As right now, Zorline trying to battle with Tristan Wilhoit right now. That's not what you want to do. And Henry probably a sitting duck right now.
Oh, boy, yeah. Henry is definitely a sitting duck. Matt Dixon going for 2 wins. If he was running full time, that would be a wild card spot he can go for.
Yeah, but if nothing else, it's just building up a lot of momentum for next year for this team. Wilhoit now to 4th, looking for 3rd.
Is this a crown jewel event?
Technically, no. I mean, some people might consider this, though, with how lucky you have to be sometimes to win here.
Now, do we make it off this corner? We've been lucky for 4 laps.
We've been lucky for 3 so far. Mark George going for the race lead on Henry Sanford.
Oh, not a lot of room.
They make it through there so far. And I'm not sure how we have been able to get away with that for so long in this race.
And we're doing 110% too. This is insane.
And now these guys are battling. So Plord has actually caught Dixon. This is for, or sorry, it's Commons. This is for 30th. So we'll have to check back in there if they wreck at any point. Meanwhile, this for the lead. Here comes Tristan Wilhoit. looking for win number
look
3.
At Shoreline. Look at Johnny still coming up there, and he killed the guardrail the lap before.
Nope, definitely don't use that camera.
Too.
Meanwhile, I think George is going to get the run off the corner.
Well, George is going to get turned.
As they are 3 wide for the race lead down the final highway section.
Oh, this is going to get freaking insane into the twisty section after 3 wide like this.
George back to the lead. Sanford still alongside. Wilhoit is still there.
Allie Nelson entering the picture.
The 36 car.
The best run at the bottom.
Henry's in the guardrail. George has to go wide.
Oh, this is going to be death.
Who's going to make it through the turn of death?
Who's going to lift? Nobody's
George
lifting.
has to. Sanford to the lead.
Oh, does he make it for the turn of death? He's not.
Here comes Zorline.
He's going to make it. Oh,
he makes it. No wrecking back there. To the line now. Here comes George. Does he get there? No, he doesn't. Henry Sanford snaps a 90-plus race winless streak.
First win since season 1 for Henry Sanford.
Yeah, basically. And I got really loud there at the end. I shouldn't have. Because it's really late now at night. So Sanford wins. George second. Wilhoit gets third. Zorline 4th. Delana Bohemian out of nowhere to 5th. Matt Dixon, Johnny Gardner, Dylan Young, Bill Bragg. Allie Nelson got 9th. Bill Bragg Jr. 10th.
Wait, did Steve Paul got a top 20 out of that?
Yeah, 20th exactly.
Well, that's a lot better than I thought it was going to go.
And these guys back here, they'll make it to the line. Sky Common's going to lose 2 spots on the final lap. Ozcon does a pretty good job in survival, basically, and just salvaging something. Actually, he's going to still finish on the lead lap. He's able to keep the car out of trouble, basically. And how did we manage to still have a pack of like 25 cars within 10 seconds of the leader?
That's why this is the best. This is the best drivers in the field.
So with that, we're gonna go ahead and make sure to switch the camera angle. We're gonna go ahead and save the replay here in the export, and then show you the replay of the wrecks. Well, we figured out where Stephen Paul, the third, got his damage. He's actually gonna hook his teammate a little bit here off this corner, and we weren't clean here. Because Zayn Abdullah then also hooks the 23, and there's Louvier, and
my God.
Shelley actually got, there's Plord, yep.
What a fit, man.
And there's Zayn Abdullah's car, so we didn't quite make it out of there today, so.
Hey, there's the Cheerios hauler.
Yep. And so let's take a look at the next one. Here's what happened when we saw those 2 cars that went wide. It was Bram Patterson and Sky Commons who make contact here, and they go off into the grass. Not as bad as that could have ended up. Zach Rogers out wide again. Or, well, actually, sorry, not again, because Ace Rogers was the other one that went.
Well, the Rogers family likes going some off-roading, I guess.
Apparently, because it was Ace Rogers yesterday who went wide, and then today Zach Rogers goes wide. We had 2 drivers fall off the turn of death on lap 1. Actually, sorry, no, we had 3, I think. Didn't it? Was it? No. Who was it?
Jess and Alexander.
No, not lap 1.
Oh,
so McCullough? No?
No.
It was Washer.
5 Washer.
So Washer goes off. And behind him, Christopher Pierce would as well.
With the new cars, able to survive that wreck better.
Actually, joining him should be already. Yep. 41 was Okay, well, that was never going to work, regardless of turn of death or not. Oh, actually, some contact there with the 55.
Yeah, that was just never gonna work.
That was doomed. Too wide doesn't even work on the turn of death. Oh, jeez.
Fender first.
Oh, does he hit him? Extra bonus points. So that happened there.
I
Apparently,
think
we
he
weren't
came
done
back
with
and
Brennan
killed somebody.
Patterson.
He came back and wrecked Rogers.
He hits the wall, and it just doesn't turn.
Yeah, just fucking. Sorry. Oh, didn't know we were recording. My bad.
Yeah. Sky Commons kind of did the same thing as well, but yeah. So that's what happened with the 17, actually. Lap 2 was not good for either Alexander Rowe or Jessica Shelton, as both would go off the turn of death.
That's just a summary of Alexander Rose's season.
As Shelton having the impact there dissipated a little bit. And then this would have been the lap where also Kyle Matthews fell off turn of death.
Jess crashed in trucks, top 10 in Hooters, and just another rough race here at Thornton.
Thing is, all three of those races she was running top 10 at the time of the wreck.
Yeah,
A very
that's
good
the thing.
race. Just very good weekend,
40.
just not just unlucky a little bit. Here's what happened to Amy Shelley, and it wouldn't be a Thornton weekend if we didn't have a Bermuda Triangle appearance, and Amy Shelley obliges for us.
And Steve Paul almost had the same fate, but instead he had a guardrail fate.
As there goes the car, and Amy Shelley's day was over.
And I think that was our final wreck, right?
I think it was, but we'll go ahead and do our due diligence and take a look and make sure. And if not, we'll just bring you back for the results. And here for the final recap, Henry Sanford snaps the second longest active winless streak on the of any driver basically that's in the series that's active. And second to his sister Jean Sanford, who will try and snap her winless streak next week, I believe, if she can qualify for the race. Believe we're not. No, never mind. Next week's the COT race again as well, so Jean will not be attempting to. So. Mark George, Tristan Wilhoit, Jonathan Zorline, Delon Ebrahimian, Matt Dixon, Johnny Gardner, Dylan Young, Ali Nelson, and Bill Braddock Jr., the top 10. There's the bottom of the grid, or the finishing order. Steven, your final thoughts?
It was definitely a very clean race. The pack really, this is why the Cup Series is really good. Good win on Henry there. We're at the Pig Stadium next week. And also something I'd like to mention, at the time of this recording, it is my 21st birthday today, and I'm going to bed after this video. So I hope.
Way to bring it in.
Wait, what?
I said, way to bring it in.
Yeah. So you know what? This is the Russian Roulette 666, and nothing like on your 21st birthday playing Russian Roulette.
Worth mentioning, Mark George, best career finish today. His first career top 5 finish. Same for Delon Ebrahimian.
And Johnny Gardner also on a roll with another top 10 finish. The team didn't even finish onto Ontario with a top 20. They've come off 2 top 10s in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, they're definitely on a roll. Problem is, they're not really all that close to making it into the top 30 either. So,
well, Braddock is going to continue on Jackson because Braddock has had a top 10 streak going besides that 42nd last week.
Yeah, so ground will be made up there, which is well needed. Jackson 16th, somewhat of a struggle actually for him based on the rest of the season, having 8 top 10s through 16 races, so odds are that Jackson will get a top 10 next week. So let's see how that goes. I'd like to thank Steven for joining me once again. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't done it for more racing and gaming related content. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I'm Gordon Fan 291. This has been Stephen Paul III. This has been a production of the NRSL. I'll see you next time.
See you guys.